kick set, where them haters, where them hoes, where them throws, you know what I'm saying? Cecil.
Fighting in Gender by Nancy Jane Moore. Another DC area. Well, she was in the DC area at one point. Martial artist. I actually used to work with her when I worked downtown in Washington, D.C. And she is quite an accomplished Aikidoist. She holds a 4th degree black belt in Aikido and is also trained in karate and Tai Chi. She ran the University of Maryland Aikido Club. So I know Nancy, and she's a science fiction writer. This article is at Science Fiction Writers of America. And I've written a few science fiction books myself. Of course, they had a martial arts bent to them. But what she's saying about fighting in gender is this. Someone was critiquing a draft of one of her novels, and they said that women fight differently from men. And then they're going to tell her, she says, and this is correct, in my experience, that's not always the case, especially with weapons. And then he replied, yeah, but you're big. And she said she let it go because the fight scenes needed work, and because she knows that she is taller than the average woman. It says here in her article, she's about the size of the average U.S. men. So then the issue isn't biological or gender, it's body size and build. The average man may be bigger than the average woman, but there are plenty of small men and big women in the world. Okay? Now, where this resonated with me personally is that I'm a big guy. And you know, there's a thing in the martial arts where people will think, especially if you're talking about grappling techniques and control techniques, they automatically assume that what you're doing works because you're big. So a lot of times when I would be graded in some orgs, if I'm doing joint locks and stuff like that, they're automatically going to assume that he's muscling his techniques. He's muscling his techniques because of my size. And at one point, my forearms were a little bit more defined than they are now. If I would wiggle my fingers, you could see the muscles in my forearms moving. So some people took that as a sign that I was grabbing as hard as I could to get the joint lock to work on somebody. And no, that's not the case. So I'm sure that is why some people may shy away from a larger instructor. Maybe they think that, especially if we're talking about a big guy, maybe they think the guy is going to throw them around, use it for a punching bag. Or, especially if they're a small person, or even a small woman, they might think that a large man or larger person doesn't understand how they feel in terms of being a smaller, weaker person. This is something I have to tell people. And I think I'm going to say it here for all prosperity. I was not always big. I was the runt of my litter. I am the youngest of 4. So I was not always the big person that's here now. I was small. I remember how I felt when I was small. And in my generation of my relatives, I'm one of the younger ones coming up. So we smaller ones, we had to, deal with being small against the bigger kids in the family. And then outside the family, especially when I started putting on weight as a kid, I was still smaller than the bullies who would pick on me, because of course, the bullies a lot of times are going to pick on somebody that's smaller. It wasn't until I got older that I ran into smaller bullies who would pick on big guys because they felt bad about being small, so they want to feel better by beating up on a big guy that they think is soft and weak. So this whole thing about fighting in size, look people, I know I said in another video that Michael Jai White is bigger than Bruce Lee. So he's a lot stronger than Bruce Lee. So that would probably mean that Michael Jai White could beat Bruce Lee. But that is only because I see both of them as in the same league. See, that's where I think maybe the disagreement comes in. A lot of people don't think that Michael Jai White is in Bruce Lee's technical league. But I think that Michael Jai White is in Bruce Lee's technical league. So even if Bruce Lee might be faster than Michael Jai White, they're still in the same league, so then size and strength would come into play. I look at it like factors in an equation. You want to get a lot of points for being big, but you can get other points for being well trained, thinking strategically, your level of knowledge and understanding of the fighting arts. And then if you bring weapons into it, your knowledge of a particular weapon. So that's the reaction that this article sparked to me that was written by Nancy. So please, I want to put a link to her article below this video. Go ahead and take a look at it. It is very interesting. Oh, there's also something else in here. This doesn't pertain to me personally, but this is something that I know she said something to me about this at one time, because I think I asked her about training my daughter, and other female martial arts instructors that have more experience than me have spoken to me about this. And this phenomenon where, let me see, in a world in which calling men and boys girls, or much less acceptable word for female, is a major insult, women who fight will have to deal with the cultural dynamics. Okay? This kind of hits at the idea that sometimes women may have to give themselves permission to be able to be rough and tumble and to defend themselves, because they may feel like being a warrior is not feminine, it's not ladylike. And if they've got that in their subconscious, it's possible that they may not even want to fight for themselves when they have to. They expect that some man is going to save them. When truth be told, in this world, nobody's going to save you but yourself a lot of times, and God if you call on him. But when God says he trains your hands for war, he wasn't just talking about guys. He was talking about ladies too. So, especially if we're talking about size, and then if they're talking about, if a female student may be looking at a male instructor, she may feel like he doesn't understand. But you know, I look at it like this. Even if we don't understand, though, as long as we're trying to instruct, and we're trying to instruct from a good place, come in there and learn. And you know what? Make us understand. Because I know I've certainly been kicked and choked over the years and thrown by competent female martial artists. So don't let that stop you. And you people who think that, oh, it's only working because they're big. No. It's working because they know what they're doing. So that's enough about me rambling on about this. Please take a look at this article. It is a very good article, and I like the stuff where she go. I could go on about this all day, but I want to stop. Especially here, a weak person knows how to grab using their center rather than their arm, and strength can stop the movement of a stronger person. And by them being smaller, it's easier for a smaller person to get up under a person and throw them. And here's something, this is something I do have to struggle with. Big, strong people can succeed on size and strength as long as the person they're fighting isn't either stronger than they are or more skilled as a fighter. So that's why I actually, in a way, have to work harder on technique so that I know what I have to deal with if I come up with someone who's just as strong or stronger than me. So thanks for watching the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check out this very, very good article by the Aikido master, Nancy Jane Moore. Peace.